Well, here we are settling into the first quarter of 2025. The Eagles just won the Super Bowl. Trump is president. We just got past Chinese New Year. It's Year of the Snake. That's my year, although I don't really know what that means. What I do know is Hawaii is experiencing one of the most beautiful winters I've probably ever seen. I mean, look at how green Diamond Head is. Today, we're bringing you 10 things you need to know about the Oahu market in 2025. First, we're going to start with a little recap of what happened in 2024. Welcome to your Oahu market update for 2025. Starting with number one, new construction is booming. This is an interesting topic for me right now because as I look down the shore, I can see Kakaako on the opposite side of this shoreline. And then we're standing at the Gold Coast at the end of Waikiki. And at one time, this place boomed. I want to say these were built in the late 60s, early 70s. And these were like the premier high-end condos to buy. Of course, you're right here on the beach. And now Kakaako is building up, which is a lot of that's considered like front row luxury, and it's in comparison with what you see here, but this is like right on the water. Kakaako, you've got Ala Moana Boulevard in between you and the ocean, so it's a little bit different of an experience over there. But speaking of new construction, you've also got new construction happening out at Ho'opili in the Ewa Plain. We've been helping a lot of clients buy houses there, especially our local clients, because Ho'opili often offers incentives. You get a lot more house there for your buck. In Kakaako, Ward Village is really taking shape. The park is really coming together. And we've had clients that have purchased at Victoria Place. And as Victoria Place has now opened up, I feel like buyers are now understanding the vision for Ward Village. You can actually see it rather than just imagine it. Prior to that, Waiakoa was the only front row building to really reference, but Victoria Place has just taken it to a whole new level. So we've got clients now that have confidence in going on contract for the Launiu. The Launiu is going to be an incredible project with amazing views of Diamond Head. Kalai is pretty much sold out, but you've also got more units coming. Now, number two, you've got affordable options coming. We've got two projects that we know about, Kahuina and Waiakoa. Those are coming to the our Kakaako area rather than the Ward Village area. These are going to be more like workforce housing. 60% of the project will be set aside for reserved or affordable housing. A lot of nuances to affordable housing as far as like how much you can make, how long you need to live there. We know about all of this stuff. We can sift through the nitty-gritty details for you. So if you're interested in any of this, get in touch with us. Also, one thing that's new for us on the side, we started a podcast. And we did our recent podcast with a guy named Sterling Higa. He's absolutely brilliant. He's not a politician, but he's like politician adjacent. Check that podcast out when you get a moment. There's a lot of really valuable information there. Oh, by the way, little side note. So I was on Kauai last weekend and I'm sitting there having breakfast with like no makeup on, glasses, you know, my workout clothes. And this couple is like looking and they came up to me and they're like, I'm sorry, I don't mean to bother you. I know it's breakfast, but do you have a YouTube channel? And I'm like, yeah, I do. And they're like, oh my God, we love your YouTube channel. We watch it all the time. We loved your Ko'olina video. We bought a place there. And I'm like, and you didn't call me? Like, I didn't say that, but I feel like maybe I don't do a good job saying who I am. So my name's Mila. I'm a real estate agent here on Oahu. My nephew and I run this channel together. We have a website called dwellhawaii.com, and we would love to help you if you're looking to buy or sell real estate here on Oahu, or actually anywhere in Hawaii. Please get in touch with us, leave us a comment, and by the way, let us know where you're watching from, or just like communicate with us. That's always fun, but we don't always see the comments. So if you need to get in touch with us, contact us through the links in the description box. I've actually never walked on this street before, and these houses are so cute. They're like little gingerbread houses. A lot of these are historic residences. If you want more information on that, we did a video on a historic residence in Manoa. But I believe this has something to do with like post-World War II, and I don't know, it makes me realize I need to find out. So anyway, moving on to number 3. So USDA loans are still available in eligible areas, and one of those eligible areas that comes to mind would be Waianae, or more of your rural areas. These loans enable you to put 0 down in order to buy. Sometimes they're a little bit difficult for sellers to get behind, but in this market where things are just a little bit more constrained, I would say USDA loans are a viable option, especially in areas where there's a lot more inventory. So if you'd like more information on that, get in touch with us. Number 4. People have a lot of equity in their homes and prices are pretty stable. Now, as rates are declining ever so slightly, they're not declining by very much. I mean, like every day I kind of see them go from 7.125% down to 6.99 down to 6.875, and then we get all excited and then they kind of go back up again. So they're kind of just like bouncing there. Where rates are going to go in the future is highly speculative, especially with Trump being the president. People have a lot of thoughts on that. But right now we're just seeing things kind of like bounce along ever so steadily. So if you have a lot of equity in your home, be aware of your options to tap that equity in order to purchase another home. A lot of people are finding themselves stuck, feeling like, I'm not gonna sell my house because I have a 3 or 4% interest rate. That would be just crazy. But just know that there are options for you if you should need to move. Before we do our 2024 market update, I just wanted to let you know where we are. I actually just learned about this place. It's called Kuilei Cliffs, and this is right around Diamond Head. Down below is where you've got the Diamond Head surf spots. But this place is kind of like being cared for by a 501(c) nonprofit organization, and they're just like restoring this area. It used to be just like full of brush and kind of like rubbish, and there were homeless people living here, and now they've beautified it. People come here and watch the sunset. It's been terraced, they've planted trees. Unfortunately, there's a rumor that the city actually revoked the water that they've been using to water this area. So Kuilei Cliffs has been asking for public support to be able to keep up. But that's one of the things I have to say that I love about living in Hawaii, is just the way that our community comes together where it's really needed. Even on Kauai, when the hurricane happened back in 1992, Hurricane Iniki, I remember my mom was living there at the time, and it was as if, yes, something bad happened, but it was almost as if nothing happened because the community banded together. The Lahaina Fires, same thing. The community comes together, and the strength there is so much better than oftentimes than what the government can do. Coconut Coalition is another one. That's a nonprofit that took care of the Koko Head Stairs in Hawaii Kai. They restored it. It's a wonderful place now to hike. So if you're interested in helping out any of these nonprofits, I have no affiliation with them, but I just thought it was really cool and something to share. All right, now we're gonna do the market update. So you can totally click through this if you don't wanna see any of this. We're gonna do it all in one shot so that it's all in one place. So let's start with single family homes. In 2024, we saw an increase in the number of sales in single family homes by about 9.1%. So 2,800 homes closed in comparison to 2,500 in 2023. We saw a 4.8% increase in price from about 1.05 million to about 1.1 million. I often will tell people when they ask about appreciation on Oahu, I'll say it's about 5% historically per year. Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less. So 4.8% is kind of right in line with that. Our days on market decreased from 22 days to 19 days. So not a lot. You can see again that we've got a lot of stability in our housing market right now, given the current interest rates and just the sentiment. 99% list to sales price ratio, so you're not really gonna get deals on single family homes. Count on offering the price. Sometimes maybe you can negotiate a little under. Oftentimes those negotiations happen through the inspection period as well, or if the appraisal happens to come up short, then we'll see price decreases happen. But single family homes, there's just not a lot of them on this island, and unless it's a real fixer-upper, negotiating is hard. And then currently we've got about 13% more listings than 2024. So our inventory has increased a little bit, but we are in February, so that's kind of typical for this time of year and coming off of Christmas. And then kind of like once we start heading into spring, then we'll see homes going off the market a little bit quicker. We'll see. Now, going into some of the neighborhoods, Mililani, Moanalua, Salt Lake, Waipahu, Ainahaina, and Kuli'o'o, we've seen 100% list to sales price there, so really no deals in those areas. 99% list to sales price ratio in areas like Waialae, Kahala, Kailua, Hawaii Kai, and Pearl City. So again, you're not really getting deals, but maybe they're not really going over asking in those neighborhoods. We've seen an 8% price decrease in Kahala, Windward Coast. Hawaii Kai, again, prices are up 11%. I talk about Hawaii Kai a lot. That's my neighborhood. I do tend to focus on it just because that affects, my life and my wallet. But one of the reasons why I moved to Hawaii Kai was because I knew that the value stays pretty strong no matter what, and prices are up by 11%. Makakilo out on the west side, prices are a little bit flat. In Wahiawa and on the Waianae coast, we've seen prices come down by about 2%. So again, not a lot. In the Ewa Plain, we've seen double the amount of inventory than Kailua and 3 times more than Hawaii Kai. So if you are looking for value, if you're somewhat looking for a deal, there's a lot of inventory in the Ewa Plain, and that's a great place to look. Let's move on to the condo market. We saw about a 2.5% decrease in sales in the condo market. There's a lot of inventory there right now, and I'll tell you why in a moment. We saw about a 1.3 price increase from $505,000 to $515,000. So not a lot of movement. Again, not a lot of deals to be had necessarily in the condo market, but there's just a lot to look at, and they're taking a little bit longer to sell as a result. So really that's where it benefits you more than the price. We saw a 42.9% increase in the days on market from 21 days to 30 days. So again, that just has to do with there being a lot more inventory. Why is there a lot more inventory? We've been seeing the maintenance fees, the HOA fees increase dramatically, and this is because of insurance. So because of the Lahaina fires, all of a sudden, all eyes are on Hawaii. They're saying that we've been flying under the radar, that we've been paying way less than we should have for insurance. All of a sudden, because of the Lahaina fire, it's like, oh, natural disasters happen in Hawaii, you guys need to pay more. And so unfortunately, condos are taking the hardest hit. HOA fees are having to increase as a result. And like I have a listing right now where the HOA fee went from $800 a month to $1,400, and it changed from December to January. And so right now we're having to figure out if we need to drop the price, how we can remarket this unit in relation to the HOA fees. So I don't know, hopefully we'll see those settle down at some point. Right now, no one's really saying either way which way this is gonna go. We just know that they've gone up. 98% list to sales price, which is down from 98.6. So in 2024, we would see condos close closer to the asking price, and now they're closing a little bit further from the asking price, but not a whole lot. Inventory is up 18.9%. All right, let's go into some of the different neighborhoods. So on the North Shore, where there's really not a lot of condos, prices have actually gone up 16%. And this could be thanks to the short-term rental law. So the short-term rental law, it's constantly under review and it's being scrutinized because we are so constrained here with housing, and our government seems to think that if we take some more of these short-term rentals and put them into the general housing inventory, that's gonna solve a lot of problems. But there are condos that have the right to rent out short-term, and on the North Shore, you have that. So as a result, prices are up because that's one of the only places you can invest and still rent out short-term. Kuilima is one in particular by Turtle Bay. Kakaako prices are actually up 8%. This could be due to all of the closings at Victoria Place, which I mentioned a bit ago. Hawaii Kai prices for condos are actually down 3%. And again, this goes back to the HOA fees. Hawaii Kai doesn't have really any new condos. Some of the newer ones you're gonna see were ones developed like in the early 2000s. So those, not so bad, but all the other ones that were built like in the 70s, oh my gosh, they are really taking it in the chin on HOA fees. So condo prices have gone down as a result, and days on market for condos are simply up everywhere. All right, getting back to our list, now we're at number 5, interest rates. Interest rates are pretty stable. I know I mentioned this just a bit ago when we were at the Gold Coast, but I don't feel like I said it was number 5. So interest rates are right around 7%. Like I said, they float between 7.125, 6.99, back to 6.875. The hard truth is, I remember when I got into real estate in 2016, and I was saying, you know, oh, $500 a month in mortgage payment is about $100,000 in mortgage. And I calculated it the other day, and not to discourage anybody, but $1,000 is now $100,000 at about 7%. So that was like, oh my gosh, that feels crazy to me. Although I know first-time home buyers really have no reference for that. I mean, when I bought my first place, it was about 7%, but this was forever ago. Anyway, not to be discouraging, but that's what's going on with interest rates. They're pretty stable. And now that President Trump is in office, everybody's kind of wondering what's going to happen, and that remains yet to be seen. We have moseyed on over to a place called Cromwell's. This is such an amazing little spot. There's no parking, so I've got my car on the side with flashers on, and we're gonna get this done quickly before neighbors call the cops on me and tow my car. We just saw an Uber come down and drop somebody else off. It's kind of a secret spot, but not really. We've also got a place called Shangri-La behind me. That's a very interesting home. But anyway, number 6, short-term rentals are seeing continued pressure. I think I touched on this a little bit ago. It used to be kind of like, you know, wacky woo, do whatever you want with your house, rent it out. All you had to really contend with was your neighbors, but now there's an actual law in place preventing you from being able to do short-term rentals. In Waikiki, there's certain buildings in certain jurisdictions where you can still do it. Kakaako, you absolutely cannot rent out for anything less than 6 months. You can try to do 30-day rentals. Certain areas of like the Ala Moana area, you can do 30 days. It went to like 3 months. It's being, you know, lobbied to go to 6 months. But anyway, short-term rentals are just really not a thing anymore. Along those same lines, number 7, there is Bill number 46, which is an empty homes bill. That was introduced in November of 2024. It was deferred for later review in December, and now it's probably going to go to a vote in 2025 at some point. This is the closest our government has ever gotten to imposing a tax on people who have empty homes. And in this area, I would say there's quite a lot of them, just people who have homes here that are just second homes. So the thought process behind this bill is that it's either going to force people to sell their empty homes or make them available for rent. Whether or not this is actually going to solve our housing problem is up for debate. We talk about it a little bit on that podcast I mentioned earlier, but our take on it here is just to give you the information. We're not really here to give you an opinion, but if you want to have a discussion about it, we're open. Right now, we're at a lookout at the Diamond Head State Monument. Look how beautiful it is. Again, this has been the most amazing winter ever. Just blue skies like every day and hardly any wind. It's awesome. All right, number 8. This one is for our VA clients. Assumable mortgages, we're seeing those quite a bit lately. You know, most people who bought in 2020 or 2021 had like a 2.75% interest rate. Now they're PCSing out of Hawaii, and those mortgages are available to be assumed by another veteran. Someone else can assume that mortgage as long as the veteran is willing to give up their entitlement, but that's like looking for a needle in a haystack. That hardly ever happens. Now, assumable mortgages, while they're a great product and they offer wonderful options for VA buyers, it's not as easy as one would think. So if somebody owes $500,000 on their mortgage, it's not like you can just assume that mortgage at 2.75% and pay nothing else. You also have to consider that you need to pay the gap between how much that house has appreciated over the last 3 or 4 years. We've been doing assumable mortgages with some of our clients. They do take a little longer. So if you're on a timeline where you want a house in like 45 days, fat chance that's not really going to happen. Typically, assumable mortgages take between 90 and 120 days, sometimes a little bit more. Number 9, the best available program for mortgages for first-time home buyers is the This Is Home program. One of our lending partners has this as a proprietary product. It's pretty awesome. So I know I painted somewhat of a bleak picture earlier when I talked about interest rates and how $1,000 is $100,000 in mortgage, but the This Is Home program will mitigate some of those numbers. So if you're interested, if you're a first-time home buyer, get in touch with us. We'll put you in touch with our lending partner. Finally, number 10, the wildfires are putting continued pressure on the insurance crisis. So I know I talked about this a little bit earlier with regards to condos, but we are also seeing home insurance issues on single family homes. We had clients who were in escrow on a beachfront home, and oh my gosh, it was so difficult for them to get insurance just with the nature of it being on the ocean. Also with regards to how old the roof is. Gone are the days of just calling your favorite Liberty Mutual insurance person and saying, hey, I'm buying a new house, I need insurance, no problem. Now you're having to go to a specific type of broker. Liberty Mutual is one of them that hasn't been providing homeowners insurance. Oftentimes we will negotiate with the seller to be able to assume their insurance policy. These are all the types of nuances that Koa and I really involve ourselves in. Buying a home is not as easy as it used to be. Hawaii has its own certain criteria, and this is really what Koa and I like to cut our teeth on. So if you are a seller or a buyer and you're looking for help and you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe here. We do also release videos at least every other week, or at least we try to. And once again, get in touch with us through the links in the description box. We would love to help you.